All right, Brent Porcio here with another testimonial. Excited about this one. Hunter Speer came to us, what, a year ago? Almost a year ago. Plays at William Carey right now. Pretty cool. My old league, I played in college ball, Spring Hill, but Spring Hill's not anymore. So, but he came here. Obviously, talented guy. You know, I'll tell you one thing about Hunter is he's quick. He has good mechanics, but unfortunately, you know, I would say you're not small, but you're not big guy. You know, I would say you get some decent height, but you're wiry, you're quick, and you're lean. So tell him like why you came, what were you looking for? Because I think with you it was pretty specific. It wasn't just like a lot of people come in here really need everything. I think you were doing some things really well. You were just probably trying to get over that hump or break through to the other side, right? Get into the 90s. So talk about that year and why you wanted to come.
Well, I definitely, like you said, I definitely wanted to get over that hump. You know, it was really just, I wanted to come here and take the next step in my game. Really just wanting to throw healthier over a longer course of a year. You know, see what you thought about how I look down the mound and what I can be better-wise. You know, how I can separate better. You know, just things like that. Make myself stronger. You know, just really all of the gains that I've made has definitely helped from your program, and I can't thank you enough for it.
Well, cool. Well, let's get more. So you came in to camp. What do you remember? What you were at camp?
87, 88, maybe.
Okay, 87, 88. And you said you were a relief pitcher that year.
Yes. And
you were a sophomore. No, junior.
Junior.
Your junior year in college, 87, 88, out of the pen. And so talk about what that experience was in camp. Like, what did you, doing this up to your junior year in college, you also come from a minor league, your brother's a minor league ball player, so you have some talent in your family, and you know baseball. So coming into the camp, what was the experience like for you?
Something that I thought it would be, definitely, like the weightlifting part. I've always been a guy to do the Olympic lifts and everything. You know, I wanted to make sure I was doing them correct. I wanted to get stronger. You know, it's something that you preached. You know, you have to be a strong kid to, you know, throw 90 miles an hour or above that. You know, you have to have the correct mobility to do it. You know, I wanted to improve everything around the game. You know, the preparation side of it that you preach, and I wanted you to just to help me with that. And you know, the camp showed me that I was doing some things right with some things that I needed a big help on. And you know, the program, if you follow it, it's right there for you. It's perfect.
So what were some of the specific things that we picked up in camp that you knew were an issue, were a weakness that you needed to get better at?
Definitely my linear movement down the mound. I think one plus I have for me is how I separate. I separate really well, but my linear power wasn't there. You know, I wasn't generating a lot of force, you know, through the ground or down the mound or anything.
Because you were very rotational.
Very rotational.
Good separator, right? Because you know, separation is a rotational movement, but really good rotational back leg, good separation, just not a lot of energy moving you forward. So when we put you in the chest up drills, you were struggling.
It really showed. I was frustrated.
Were you shocked how bad you were in those drills?
I was horrible at them.
Yeah. So those things became your focus through the training, right?
Definitely. That's one thing it's definitely gotten me where I am at the start of this year. You know, I've improved linear, but I know I can be so much better, and it's just something that you're gonna have to keep working at. It's definitely not a quick fix.
But so, you've basically seen what, as you've gotten more leg power, more linear energy, how much, with already your great rotational movements, how much that's just quickly added velocity for you. I wouldn't say quickly. I mean, this is over what? How long did you train this off season after the program?
13 weeks.
13 weeks. So you were 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, which is good. And you would come here and leave and go back and do it
during the fall. So maybe even more than that. I don't know.
Okay.
I just know while I was away from school, it was like before I got to campus, it was about 13 weeks.
Cool. And then you go out to the season for your senior year, and were they always planning to put you in as a starter?
Me and my head coach had talked about, you know, what my role would be this year, and he definitely said he wanted me to try and make that adjustment to start. You know, I haven't done it in college yet. But I mean, I think I prepared myself. I was going in there to be a starter, and you know, it all worked out, and I've gotten a chance to throw every weekend in the starting role. So,
and you're doing really well this year so far. What have your stats been up to till now? It's been pretty good.
Yes, I think I definitely had a good February to start. I think I've had 24 innings, maybe. I've had 4 starts, like
a lot 30, of Ks,
32, 33 strikeouts, something like that.
Yeah, you're what? I saw it. You were like 12, almost 13 Ks per 9.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. So, not only that, the velocity. Where's the velocity been up to? You said 94?
Yep. About 91, 94, most of my outings. I think my last one was about 90, 93.
Okay. So going from the pen, 87, 88, to starting 91, 94, huge, because there's been a good chance if you'd gone back into the pen, you probably could even throw harder. But that's awesome. So, I mean, that's a good 6 miles an hour, I would say, at best. Maybe a good 5 on average, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, and you still feel like there's a lot to gain. Just looking at your that picture you sent me, he's got amazing hip to shoulder separation. Actually, I want to use that picture as the cover. That'd be cool. Okay. They'll see it. And just there's your trunk's a little early, and you don't have hip extension, and that's a linear push. So it's like you can see even at your best, you could still get more linear drive through your hip into some more hip rotation or hip extension, and that should pull your trunk back, not in rotation because you're doing that well, but in trunk tilt, a little bit more delay, and it's just going to mean more velocity. So cool. So like those out there, like give them the big picture, like from when you first came into it, hearing about it, to going through it, to success with it. Like talk about what, to help others out there. Like why do you think this works? Why do you think it's a better alternative to say weighted ball approaches or other approaches? Like, give them some information on that.
Well, firsthand, it definitely does work. I'm not sitting here and telling you that it doesn't work. It definitely is something that does work. And I think the main reason it works is because everything that you're doing in your drill work here, or if you're an out-of-state guy and you get it and you do it away from the facility, everything you do is basically your movements down the mound. It's just in a weight training or resistance program, to where you can feel your body and movements that you normally wouldn't if you've never been a part of a program like this. And it's just something that, I mean, it takes your game to a completely different level if you stick to it. Now it's definitely rough. It's a rough training, session. It's a rough training progress. But I mean, if you stick with it, there's no telling how much you can gain or type of athleticism you can gain from the program. I mean, it's all written there for you. It's just whether or not you have the discipline to follow it or not.
Right. Discipline is key. So you got to commit. You got to be in it for the long run. You got to be, most importantly, focused on your issues, right?
Correct.
If you're not willing to sit there and deal with your issues in the programming, and you just keep building up your strengths, you're not going to see the gains you potentially can see. For example, Hunter's seen how bad his linear movement was in his chest up drills. He didn't cower from that. He didn't, I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. I'm going to get on the things I like. You win at that. And you said, all right, that's an issue. I've got to get better at that. You got better at that. And I even think up in front in the beginning, it really discouraged you. I think we discouraged a lot of guys.
It's definitely a frustrating thing once you figure out how, once he figures out the deficiencies of what you're bad at, you're going to be extremely frustrated. But I mean, that's part of the game. It's part of life. It's something that you're going to have to deal with, but you can't just, like you said, you can't shy away from it. That's something that you have to work out day in and day out. It's not something that's just going to go away in a few drills or a few minutes.
And it's something too, I knew you were committed because, I mean, you weren't here all the time, but you made a lot of trips here, and that's a good hour drive. I know, hour and a half drive. So a good hour and a half drive he was making here, and then an hour and a half back to work here and train here. A small portion of his training, but enough to show to me that you were definitely committed. You definitely were learning. You wanted to learn more. You saw that this would work. You had a good feeling that this would work, and it came true. And I think it will keep working for you. It's something that I don't think there's an end to what we do here. It's just, if the farther we go down that road, the better we get. And it's always exciting knowing how much better we're going to get. But at the end of the day, the farther you go down, the harder it is to make gains because you're starting to push your body's true potential.
Correct. I definitely think I'm just scratching the surface, if I'm being honest. I might be a senior in college, but I'm just getting to, my potential, and there's no telling where I can take it. It's just whether or not you stay committed in what you have to do.
And you have a great year. You go play pro ball. I mean, I'm sure you're pretty determined to play pro ball.
Definitely.
I think you got a lot going for you as a starter, sitting already in a good speed. I think, unfortunately, you're not an oversized guy, so I think scouts are going to look for other things in you, hopefully that you're disproportionate in. Okay, well, this guy's a little undersized. Well, let's see, does he run really fast? Is he got a good head on his shoulders? Is he really determined? Has he got some other great pitches? Does he command his pitches well? Does he command the mound well? So, I mean, I think, you're very well-rounded. I see you already have a lot of that. But at the same time, too, if in this approach you can put on more mass, that's another big thing we do. That'll just kind of help any of those, I guess, issues that maybe scouts might put on you if it is a size thing.
The nutrition program is definitely, it'll be a huge help for anyone, not just me. Whether you want to gain weight, lose weight, there's a whole book on it that you.
And I know for someone like you, it's not easy to gain weight.
Correct, especially not during the season. Maybe if I would have come before, if I'd had a lot more time before a season, I definitely know I could have done it. But it's just while you're in season, games and practice and whatnot, long days at the field. That's the toughest part. But
well, I say, expect a lot more from Hunter. Any scouts out there watching, this is going to be a big guy to watch for next year. I plan a lot of good things to come out of the season for you. You have another off season to thicken up, get bigger, add some velocity. I think you're a great commodity for a team out there that's looking for a high quality starter. I think at this point, right?
We'll see.
I mean, I think it looks like you could stay as a starter. You said you hadn't started since when?
My first few starts in college were after surgery, and I haven't really been a starter since then. I started after my sophomore year in summer ball, and when I got back to school, I was right back in the pen. So, it hasn't definitely been I've never done a full season as a starter like I plan to do this year.
Well, I'm excited. So keep an eye on Hunter. You're going to send us more great highlights. Any velos that you get that keep going up, please send us those. We'd like to put out some training highlights on you, on how fast you are, all the good stuff you got, vertical jump, stuff like that, and just keep putting it out there and showing that you got, you're gonna have, you're a talented guy. So, all right, cool. I appreciate you doing this. I mean, any last words? Anything you'd just like to say last?
I think if anybody out there, it doesn't, there's no age that you should or shouldn't do this program. I think anybody that has a dream of elevating a game or a dream of playing professional baseball or college baseball, being a guy at the high school level, I think it's a necessity to get with Coach Brent and his staff and just try and take your game to the next level. Because it's all there for you. It's just whether or not you're going to be committed to the process of it, and the duration of the program is, it'll be unbelievable if you truly want to take it there.
Sweet dude, appreciate it.